So I'm Manuel Melen. I'm working in this luxury industry for 30 years. I was in the Richemont Group during 25 years. Then with an associate we bought a brand named Poiret. And that's when I met Marianne, because she was the one who designed the interchangeable ring for Poiret. So that's how begin the story on this. And in the beginning of 2017, I left Poiret because I had this idea of the lab-grown diamonds and creating a new jewelry brand, ecological jewelry brand. And so we met again with Marianne on this, and so we decided to launch this in May 18. Yes.
Yeah, actually we started to work on it in May 2017.
Yes. Yeah.
That was like the first ideas starting to cook.
Yes. It was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. And I had been running my own jewelry business in Sweden since 2008.
And that's an ethical jewelry business too.
Yeah, and actually in Sweden it was like just a digital multi-brand, and we had like 15 brands, of which one was my own brand, where I was developing this interchangeable collection. And then before that I had done really different things that had nothing to do with the jewelry industry. And then a common friend introduced me to Manuel. So I presented the interchangeable collection, and you were like, I like this.
Yeah.
This I want.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Yeah. And so when Manuel then afterwards called and said, would you be interested in actually building a brand with me, which would be ethical, sustainable, with lab-grown diamonds and recycled gold. I was like, yes, this is an offer I can't refuse. I was at the time in Sweden, so I've come to Paris now and I'm living here.
But if we can just go back a bit, I think that the interchangeable pieces is what Poiret became famous for.
Yes.
At the beginning.
Yeah,
and so that was you, and were you not a permanent creative director at the house? You were simply just selling collections or selling pieces?
Perhaps it's a bit different. At the beginning, Poiret was very well known for interchangeability on watches, but they never had jewelry interchangeable. And the idea was to build the brand around interchangeability. So that's why we met, because she designed something.
I added the interchangeability through my patented invention to the jewelry side. But at that time I was working as an independent. So, but I continued to make the designs around this specific collection together with you, and that's how we actually got to know each other, and we understood that we were, complementary, and also the same type of vision of things.
But Marianne, had you always studied jewelry and been involved in jewelry design, or how did you get there?
I've always been practicing some kind of artistic activity, so I have been painting a lot, drawing a lot, but I've been very far from the artistic activity professionally, since I've been with Procter & Gamble. I was marketing director for the European household cleaners business for 8 years, and then I was with McKinsey, which is even further away from creative stuff, and there I was specializing gradually in telecom and pharmaceuticals, strategic work, and then I started a telecom business, and I built a school. So it was a lot of other things, and in the end, I out of a hobby activity, I invented this technique to change the stone for the interchangeability, which I managed to patent, and that's what actually brought me into the jewelry business.
Fantastic.
If a woman, the reason why diamonds are so perfect is that they have no color, so you can match it with everything. But if you want color, you can't wear it every day, because the pink ring will not fit with your whatever color you have. So to be able to change it removes that problem. So you can keep the same ring on your finger the whole time. So that was the idea.
But it's not easier to lose a piece because of that?
Not if it's a good technology. It has to be. So
And
I think that's, you tested it.
Yes, we tested it with independent lab.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
And is that the
They
key?
tried 1,000 times
Yeah.
to take it away, and we didn't lose it.
And was that the key thing about your patent? Is that it's hard to lose a piece?
No, actually,
even though it's interchangeable?
it was the patent is a construction. So it's a construction that solves a problem. So this one was a construction that solves the problem of not being able to change the stone yourself. So it made it easy and safe. And it was a kind of a very broad patent. So I think that actually what helped me do this first interchangeable ring was the fact that I was not from the industry, because I was really thinking out of the box. And I was getting told that this wasn't possible and that women wouldn't like it, etc. And I just didn't see the problem. And I think today, I mean, now I'm less out of the box because I'm in the box already, but I still don't feel a problem with getting new ideas. I think my colleague, I mean, you have to limit me a little bit on that.
Always.
But Manuel, at least, and you know the jewelry industry so well, so you know who can make it for you.
For so many years, so we found the good craftsmanship to do that, because each one has a particularity, and so that was very important to keep the same ones that work for the Place Vendôme as well, for all the big brands and so on. So they have a know-how fantastic. That's really the tradition of jewelry, which is French and Italian most of the time. So yeah, we only use these kind of people.
Because I see Chanel did the same thing when they came onto the Place Vendôme a few years ago, and then they have an in-house team of
yes, but
craftspeople.
most of these brands, they got in-house team, of course, but they use also people outside. It's just it's a little bit than what you were talking about, thinking outside the box. Even this kind of people, they know different way to do that. So sometimes it's really.
Yeah, I mean, in order to have new injections of creativity, you have to work with different partners. Even if you would have your own workshop, you would still do that. I had for I don't know how many years, maybe 4 or 5 years, I was having my own workshop, and I was actually working with gold and stones and so in my own workshop, 4 or 5 hours every evening. And so that is an advantage when you design, is to actually really by yourself have experienced the limits, so that you don't come up with ideas that from the beginning are not producible. And I think a lot of the young designers, or even the designers who have been in a school, they have never actually been hammering and bending and doing the things themselves. So you've got pros and cons in traditional and non-traditional ways of learning. I think you know that.
Well, were you at the beginning dreaming of doing something that's big like Pandora, or you always wanted to be doing small collections on Place Vendôme, high-end collections, or?
I think both. When I was doing the interchangeable collection, I was really having the vision of something which was very scalable, and I think everybody dreams of finding this one piece that the whole planet wants. Yeah. Of course, and then, but the most satisfying thing is, of course, to just try to produce pure beauty without having any constraints, and those normally are not so sellable, because they end up being very expensive.
But as you're planning to focus on, let's say, lab-grown diamonds, CBD diamonds, that means that you're going to resist working with these fancy diamonds, or not at all? So are you going to do a mixing of real diamonds and lab-grown diamonds?
No. I mean,
they are real. Both of them are real.
That word I was worried about using.
Yes. Yeah.
One is real from the planet made by Earth,
from the
and one's
ground,
real
from above ground.
But and it's the
ground
same thing.
Ground.
Technically, it's exactly
the same thing. Yes.
But I think that's why. I mean, the way I would see it is that it's the same material. It has the same constraints, the same properties, and you they would be treated the same way through all the stages, from the cutting, the certification, the designing, the creation, the production, everything. It ends up in the same way. There's no difference really.
And are yours actually being made in France, or they the American ones? Because Americans were the first. I think,
Yes, Americans were the first. Most of our diamonds come from America or Russia.
Yeah.
There's no production today in France of lab-grown diamonds, but we are working on it. It's a fantastic story.
But now that means that your role is to educate people a lot, is education on use of these lab-grown diamonds.
Yeah.
And I guess the ethics is the strongest argument, like
The ecology,
like Leo DiCaprio, people like that getting
Yeah.
behind to educate.
exactly.
But then there's the same now for recycled gold, because that's your other key
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Recycled, because
Yeah.
it actually often means stolen and reworked. How do you get around that?
So we only use recycled gold coming from urban mines. Urban mines is where you've got old computers, old phones, and industrial comment on dit déchets?
Waste.
Waste. And it came from this particular mines.
And I think that, and when you have pros and cons of whatever you do. And so if you think of humans have been digging and extracting more than half of all the gold that exists on the planet. The gold that is already extracted, out of respect for the environment and respect for living life, it has to turn. It has to be reused. And today, what's already extracted is enough for 70 years of need across all industries. And so, of course, you can always imagine that some of the gold has been coming from somewhere, etc. But then you should also know that most brands, most brands around the Place Vendôme and everywhere, are already recycling gold. The only thing is that today it's not traceable, and what we are choosing is a traceable source, which is from these urban mines.
But then you may have quite a limitation in terms of how much gold you can access, because I guess the process is very slow.
When we will have this kind of problem, it will be
Nice.
a big problem, but a good problem for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But and the quality of the gold is
The same, 18 carats,
really.
exactly the same.
The thing is
No.
that when you recycle, you end up with 24 karat gold. And 24 karat, before you mix it and becomes 18, 24 karat is an element. I mean, it's like how do you call it, in the periodic system? It's
Yeah.
and so it's just what it is. There's nothing else.
It's quite soft then.
Yeah, it's scratchable. It's like, and when you mix it with other metals to create the alloy of 18 karat, then you can recycle it 3-4 times, and then it loses its quality, and then it has to be dismantled into 24 karat again.
I see.
And that's how you keep the quality.
I see.
So, and I mean, we decided to actually go for recycled gold rather than fairmined gold. And I think it's with fairmined that you've maybe heard that there was a restricted supply. But fairmined is for us, it's very good because people are being paid correctly and work conditions are better. However, they're still releasing a lot of mercury in the rivers. And we believe that it's a priority to protect the environment. So that's why we opted for recycled gold. And you also know that, all this gold that has been dug up already, you could say the damage has already been done. So you have to respect what's already been extracted and reuse it. It's just like plastic today. You will reuse the plastic you have today and not try to produce more.
Right, but in that case you don't have to limit yourself only to diamonds that are lab grown, because all the diamonds that stockpile that exists under the Place Vendôme and elsewhere, I guess, needs to be used as well.
But you could reason that way, and I think what we've just, we see that our mission is mostly ecological. And that's our priority, is to be ecological, sustainable, ethical. Today, to get recycled diamonds, you won't be able to get calibrated recycled diamonds. So if you want to have like pavés set, it would be very difficult to get 100 stones that are all cut the same way that are recycled. I think that's the main reason why we opted for laboratory grown diamond. And the other reason is that we think it's the future. Because the mined diamonds are going down, and we have to look at diamonds in a different way.
But do you think that's going to force you to be slightly more accessible, affordable, just above Swarovski or something?
No, I mean, I think it's a luxury material, like other materials, like cashmere is a luxury material. You will find cashmere in the high end and in the low end, depending on how the quality of it. So we are going for very high quality diamonds in designs that are more maybe labor intensive than the low end.
But in your brand story, are you going to be focused on that sustainability, or you'll be talking really more about creativity and let people discover yours?
I think it will be both in different phases of the development of the brand.
Yes, as you told before, we have a lot of education, and education begins by sustainability, of course, not by creativity. And that's why today we are talking a lot about these lab-grown diamonds and explaining that it's a diamond. It's just an alternative, a fantastic alternative. So why don't we use it in Place Vendôme, in the same place and the others, and with the same condition and same constraints of with a craftsmanship very expensive, because they are expensive, of course. But that's the way. So creativity is as you say, the next step. But at the moment, at the beginning, we must talk about sustainability, of course.
I think going back to your question as well, as when it comes to, if we're premium, etc. Today we are like a luxury brand, but we are slightly priced below the other luxury brands, and that is mainly because we're working with less intermediaries. So we have always the direct consumer sales, yes. So it's not going via intermediaries, and also the diamonds themselves that are more expensive to produce have like a third of the intermediaries of mined diamond.
Of course.
So it means that we'll be able to provide the same luxury product, but at like slightly more efficient and smarter.
And the perfection is guaranteed, isn't it? That they'll be the top of the 4 Cs because they are. You can control it in the lab.
No. We are just reproducing exactly what has been done million years ago in the ground.
So some can have flaws and
really.
Yeah,
and the color, even the color.
Really.
But here in Courbet, we only use D, E, or F color.
Right.
That's our.
Yeah, and I think the reason is that it's like if you imagine that you would plant a seed and you will have a flower. Of course, you know that you will have a flower, but you don't know exactly how it looks like.
Right.
And it's the same way when you grow diamond, that you might have the same type of mineral inclusions as in diamonds.
Because I always assume they're all decolor.
No. It's very complicated to have a decolor.
Yeah, that's why it took a year to make the 9 carat, because they wanted a high quality of the color, and they had to retry a lot of times to be able to get it.
So to get a pink would be quite tricky.
Yeah, that one is tricky to do. The pink is difficult. The blue is less difficult.
Yeah, but I think the decolor is the most difficult.
Yeah, the D is
to have. Yes.
Yeah.
And just while we are there on your story, on your brand story, your name, and I mentioned it to you, Courbet, that's quite funny too. It's quite cheeky because he's the guy who had the Place Vendôme column taken down, and he was the beginning of communism. So that's also the other extreme to. Tell me about the name, how you've chosen that, and why not your name, for instance, which is typically French, or why not a combination because the Swedes will always expect ethical from Swedes.
I think we wanted to create a brand that would be surviving us.
Yeah.
And so we're looking for a name that would have this artistic and French disruptive connotation, And Courbet really serves us well with his painting of women and nature, and his disruptive painting of the origin of life.
Yeah, you don't have it up here. That's just a copy of it.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, he wanted to dismantle, or he dismantled
yeah.
this.
They blamed him anyway for it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And he had to pay for it.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
didn't. He ran away.
But he had a nice vision, because he wanted a peace monument to be at the center of the place, and he wanted the pillar to go to the invalids.
Mm.
So it was a good thought.
Yeah.
But it is not logic to have the Peace Avenue end up with the war symbol.
No, that's true. I mean, but you have chosen to be here, and I think that's also a statement, a strong statement to be at number 7. It means, okay, we are high jewellery. We are serious about. We want to be taken seriously as a competitor of the Cartier, Van
Yeah,
Cleef, the whole
exactly.
lot.
Yeah.
So that's quite cheeky in itself. So what are the pieces, the high-end pieces you're going to do to really show them that you are top of the top or around there? Because you're saying you are going to be beneath some of them.
We already have some drawings,
Yeah.
and we already have some pieces.
Yeah, we
When,
produced one set with a big blue diamond and some white diamonds, which is a kind of a modular set of earrings and necklace. And then we've done gouaches, which is this very nice way of drawing the collections. And so there are pieces to come in addition to the one we already have.
Right.
But
Yeah,
for
this is
example,
really-
the blue diamond is the biggest blue cushion diamond lab grown. So it's a really high jewelry piece.
Yeah, yeah,
it's more
yeah.
than 500,000 euros.
Yeah.
This kind of
Yeah. And the ring with the 9-carat diamond is also quite imposing.
Yeah.
So how are you planning to educate the world, and let's say China in particular?
So I think what is for us the most effective way to educate is to actually have ambassadors, spokespeople taking a position.
But we need ambassadors to be very, not militant, but kind of, that's why I'm wearing it.
Mm.
That's
Okay.
why.
Yeah, it has to be credible people
Yeah.
with the values, sharing the same values as
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And so far we've been focusing very much on France, and so we've been focusing our education on France as well, where we are physically. So that has been it has been a challenge, but less of a challenge than when we go to China. But now I think the years to come we're going to start to go outside France to like rest of Europe and then
Because-
And Asia.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because typically I think technically you are the first house on the Place Vendôme to be able to make such a statement. To say you're totally ethical, totally
Yeah.
sustainable
Yeah.
city. So you're the first. So that means that message, it's a bit like the Stella McCartney message in fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the first, and eventually people will know
Yeah.
well, this is the house.
Yeah.
But to come here, they would need to make an appointment online, or
Yeah.
that's the only way.
Or
really,
they
to
can
meet
call, or they can have a video meeting, or they can go to our corner. I mean, we have a shop at Printemps Haussmann
you.
as well, so we have a little bit of options still.
In front of Cartier, the first
Yeah.
floor. On the, yes, but we are doing a lot of rendezvous with FaceTime. It's great. It's a new way to do some appointments.
And you
it's-
can show perfectly.
And yeah, and we
Yeah.
show it's really funny. But we want to also to be a DNVB. So the next step for us is also on internet, to doing sales on internet and having. But we know we need some more technology. We're working on it, and notoriety, of course.
Yeah, so that's the key thing, because I imagine that the ones who would be attracted to your message first are the millennials and
Yeah.
Gen Z, like we were speaking about.
Yeah.
That's some of the looks. So they just need to then, it's just the visibility.
Yeah.
And then we have to see if they really are prepared to put their money where their mouths are.
Yeah,
So-
but I think for us, our mission has been for these type of people that want the big brands or the type of design that the big brands are doing, and they still have the ecological values. They will not have to choose. They will get both in one. So that's really what we try to do. We try to unite luxury, beauty, with sustainability and ethics.
And digital. And at the end, and digital.
And of course the digital, yeah. So I think that's hopefully people will be able to live as they preach.
Mario, does that mean you're going to have to restrict yourself to not using semi-precious stones, or how do you, or is it as long as someone comes to emeralds from Colombia, I think, is it that they can come to you with certified emeralds that have been ethically produced, but they have been mined? I mean, where do you?
But we buy on demand, but we're not commercializing really lab-grown colored stones. So it's possible today to buy sapphires, emeralds, spinels, alexandrites, opals that are lab-grown of very high quality. So we don't do that yet. Except if somebody really asks us, but we can stay true to our position even with color stones.
No extraction at all.
Yeah, just let the earth be. And
you know, even our boxes, for example, are made with recycled leather. The card box is all, everything is recycled.
Yeah, we use like plant dye for the as well.
Yeah, it's actually vegetable dye.
Water-based glue. I mean, I think it's a mega trend that people are being more and more conscious of the harm we're doing.
Which piece would you like to be seen as that is the Courbet? So when people hear your name, they have that vision.
I think it's this one. That one. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's the C and O of Courbet, the two first letters, co being together, collective.
And it's also a lunar eclipse with the sun and the moon. And so, and this one is a collection where the ring is actually kind of articulates, moving. It's like a half chain.
And it has tiny little diamonds all around it, but not underneath.
No.
It's just in the front.
Yeah.
So how many little diamonds go around there?
Ooh, it should be maybe 30, about 40. Yeah. About 40 diamonds.
That's quite a lot,
Yeah.
But each collection, you will see the C and the O of Courbet.
Somewhere.
In different ways, but you will see the C and the O. So.
So you built your brand codes into that. That's going to be really
But the C and the O is kind of normally put into the design more like shapes than letters, because it's like curves, which is a bit funny because Courbet is more like a curve. Means curves. But
it's amazing to see.
Everything is
And the idea of having like the eclipse is quite clever too. Plus you talk about couples coming together.
And the feminine and the masculine. Like in France you have la lune, le soleil. So it's a bit romantic as well.
And you know, for eclipse, for example, this bracelet is the eclipse bracelet, and the C, which is the moon, is evolving all the time. So it's increasing or decreasing all the time, like the moon phase. That's
so we have the eclipse collection, the Celeste collection, and then we have
co-collection.
The co-collection, where it's really a C and O, but we've also linked this collection to a benevolent initiative that we have, which is called Let's Commit. And Let's Commit is it's actually a project where we have identified 12 different foundations that are working to improve life on this planet, either through human health or through rescuing animals or trying to save different part of the earth. And we attributed one color for each foundation. And it's actually a collection with like ropes, bracelets with a diamond. That's called Let's Commit, where CO is in the
And we're giving back 15% of all sales during
Yeah.
the whole year to these foundations.